Hey guys, the Bot Builder's back and welcome to a brand new series on this channel. And this series is called Robot Combat Hot Takes, where I asked many of my fans via Discord some of their unpopular Robot Combat opinions, and I'll of course take a look at them. I'm hoping this will be an ongoing series, so if you want to take part in the next episode, here's my Discord name right here, which you'll see on the video. And yeah, so without further ado, we do have some quite spicy hot takes for this episode, so let's just take a look at them. Right, so our first hot take is by xCarnage, and he says that his major hot take was that Chaos 2 was kind of built to be overrated from it winning Series 3, and in Series 4, it was almost scripted to win, mainly because Stinger should have won, giving Pussycat the Series 4 championships. And, well, this is a very interesting opinion, actually, because, well, yeah, I did kind of feel a tiny bit weird how Chaos 2 was kind of meant to look overrated. It did not look as strong as it really should have in Series 4, because if you actually watch the uncut version of Chaos 2 vs Stinger, then yeah, you can make the argument that Chaos 2 definitely looked the stronger towards the end. I still personally believe Stinger should have won the match, although I'm one of the weird people who thinks Panic Attack should have won the semi-final match personally, but yeah, it's just a very interesting point. I don't think it was the intention for it to be built to be overrated, but it's still the really weird editing in some of Series 4's later matches, especially in semi-final A and B in the grand finals, were, safe to say, really strange, and well, it definitely did cut out a lot of really important matches in many of the judges' decisions. But yeah, that's a very interesting opinion. Thank you, xCarnage. Right, now our next opinion is from Alpha Blizzard Productions, and he says that he thinks the Series 7 grand finals was rigged. And I'm going to have to disagree with this one. I just don't think it was rigged. There is just too much conflicting stuff for it to really make a statement. And there is actually an upcoming controversial opinion which we'll get into, which does link to the match between Storm 2 and Typhoon 2. But personally, I don't think it was rigged. And I personally believe that Storm 2 didn't beat Typhoon 2 and Typhoon 2 were the rightful winners. And I will get into that with an upcoming controversial opinion. And as for the whole rigged feel of it, there's just way too much conflicting evidence. We only have words of mouth from the Storm 2 team, and many other teams say things that basically conflict with this. So I can't really agree with this one, personally. And keeping on the topic of Storm 2 versus Typhoon 2 match, here is one by xCarnage, where he said that if Storm 2 KO'd Typhoon, they would have won. Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the point. I mean, if they did KO Typhoon 2, then they most likely would have won. That is kind of how robot combat matches work. And we're not moving away from this match yet, because we got a lot of opinions about this match. I will say, I hope in the next one, we don't get too many opinions relating to this match, because there are other controversial robot combat fights aside from Storm 2 versus Typhoon 2. But this one is by S2, and he says that Storm 2 versus Typhoon 2 was the right decision. Fight me. And don't worry, man, I'm not going to fight you, because I actually agree with this one. I just feel Typhoon 2 was the much more damaging and had the much more style. I do believe Storm 2 was the more aggressive and more controlled, and if the judging criteria was using the modern judging rules, then I think Storm 2 would have won, but the truth is Typhoon 2 was the much more damaging. And I know there's like a lot of things like, oh, they suffered internal damage. If you know the way how Typhoon 2 works internally, which I have looked into, it was really minor. Like, it did lose like a motor stopped working, but one, the judges didn't know about this at the time because they didn't go down to the arena and checked, and two, according to the Typhoon 2 team, that was extremely minor because they had multiple motors in Typhoon 2. Whereas with Storm 2, losing a front panel piece is very damaging. So yeah, and also that's really contentious as well, because that motor was actually damage carried on from the Exterminator 2 fight. And yeah, and even if that was taken into account, I still think Typhoon 2 got the more damage in and they deserved the victory. Okay, thank God we're moving away from Storm 2 Typhoon 2 stuff, and this is one said by Swindobots JP. And his hot take is that Granny's Revenge was unfairly attacked by the House of Robots in Series 5, and that it could have won if it wasn't deliberately unfairly attacked for no apparent reason. And this I'm going to have to semi-agree and disagree, because looking back at the Granny's Revenge fight, yeah, I mean, you can make the argument it was unfairly attacked. I mean, the ref bot literally pitted it. But even if it wasn't unfairly attacked, no, there's no way that thing would be beating Axor in a fight. Absolutely not. And even then, I don't really think the team honestly cared that they were getting attacked by the house robots. I mean, look at it. Did they really think that they would set the world on fire with a robot like Granny's Revenge? I highly doubt they did. They did set themselves on fire though, so gotta give credit to them for that. And now our next controversial opinion is by Dapple Zapple, and he says that Tombstone should have won the 2015 judges' decision. For those who don't know, of course is referring to Tombstone versus Bite Force in BattleBots. And I'm going to have to disagree with this one. I personally think that Bite Force were the much more aggressive, the much more controlled, and I'd even say the much more damaging, as Tombstone's weapon stopped working in that match, whereas Bite Force, the only damage they really took, from what I remember of the match, was to that front wedge. I don't think Tombstone did deserve the win, and Bite Force definitely did deserve that victory over Tombstone. So I'm afraid, Dapple, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. And keeping with BattleBots and Tombstone, Arden Burr's controversial opinion, also known as Robot Fighting Replica Zert is that he doesn't think Tombstone will win the Giant Nut again unless they make drastic changes, and yeah, I completely agree with this one. Tombstone is a brilliant machine, but I feel people do tend to overrate it a bit. And yeah, it's incredibly destructive, but robots have figured out a way to beat it, and yeah, and unless Tombstone make some drastic changes, I don't think we'll be seeing Ray Billings holding a Giant Nut again. This is a very good opinion, and I know it's going to get a lot of BattleBots fans triggered, but yeah, I honestly have to agree with this one. Now, our next controversial opinion is from Hexbug Heroes. Now, he gave two, but it's fine, because they're both very interesting ones. And his first one that he said was that he loves Huge, but the strategy they needed to beat it has been revealed by Whiplash, and it can't see it going very far next season. And I'm gonna have to disagree with this one. Like, yeah, even though like people have figured out the way to beat Huge, it's still a very difficult and tricky machine to get a hold of. Like, just because you have a strategy to beat it, like for example Tombstone, even though I don't see Huge winning, I can still see it getting very far because it's still a very destructive spinner that can still cause a lot of damage. And while his other opinion is that he believes that modern Robot Wars will still be alive if it felt more personal. And he said that he has a harder time feeling attached to robots and teams compared to BattleBots, partly because of the environment and also the filming style. And honestly, I disagree. I think Robot Wars would still be alive if it didn't have that. The reason it isn't alive was just because the BBC simply didn't understand the show. There's multiple other reasons as to why Robot Wars got cancelled. BBC didn't understand it. The marketing of it was horrible. It barely got any advertisements. That was not the reason it ended. Would it be nice if it was more personal? Yeah, but it was not the main reason as to why Robot Wars got cancelled for the second time. Our next one is by SBO788, and he said that in the infamous Tornado versus Razor fight, he believes that Tornado was above the pit and not in it, and therefore deserves the win. And yeah, I completely agree. Tornado absolutely deserved to beat Razor in that fight. It was not in the pit, it was in it. And before you say, oh, but what about Thermidor 2 can opener? Well, if you watch that match, Thermidor 2 fell through the claws and was actually in the pit, whereas Razor was holding Tornado over the pit. And also, another point he made is that if Razor did actually win, it would have gotten a winning streak and would have made it stale. And yeah, I agree. I'm absolutely glad we never got Razor become a two-time champion, because one, that would make Chaos 2's run feel a lot less special, and two, that would have been stale. That would not have been fun if Razor was a double champion. And this is coming as someone who is a pretty big Razor fan. Yeah, it would not have been fun to have had two-time champ in a row Razor. And yeah, I just find this match hilarious though, because honestly the Razor team, they don't give a shit about this match. They honestly don't care, whereas the actual Razor fans seem to cry more about this match than the actual Razor team themselves. Like, come on guys, it happened in like 2002, just get over it already. Like, Tornado won, judges did not consider it to be illegal, just get over it already please. And now Deadsalot has a very interesting unpopular opinion, and he says that Hypno Disc is overrated. And yeah, this one's gonna absolutely hurt to say because I'm a huge Hypno Disc fan. Hypno Disc is a legendary machine, but yeah, I kind of got to agree. Hypno Disc is a great machine, and it was absolutely great at destroying things, but if you look later on into the competitions, it really did struggle. It typically also got far because, well, the producers typically paired Hypno Disc up with machines it could very easily destroy. Take Black Widow in Series 5 or Series 4 Heat P, where it was in a heat with, like, the Predator and Razor Blades. And even in, like, Series 6, it got paired up against Granny's Revenge in 4x4, and it was really in a heat where the only challenger it had was Bulldog Breed, and that was a machine they already beat before. Yeah, I definitely do agree with Deadslot. Hypno Disc was not the OP, destructive beast of a machine that people really make out to be, and I don't really think it ever would have been series champion material, to be honest. But yeah, very interesting opinion by Deadslot. And our penultimate controversial opinion comes from the Jevon newsman himself, World of Woodrow, and he said that Supernova is the rightful heir of the Third World Championship. And I actually re-watched this fight for this video because I don't remember too much about what happened in it, and honestly, yeah, I actually have to agree with this one. Ignoring the whole controversy of both machines being immobile, I'm not going to look into that because the refbot didn't count the machines out or anything, so I'm not going to count that. If we're looking purely at just how the robots fought, yeah, I believe Supernova are on top. I believe they definitely did cause the more damage, and yeah. But then again, not really much happened in the fight. Apparently, according to the Supernova team, there was a lot that was cut out from the match. And from what they described about all the stuff that was cut out from the match, yeah, that just cements it even more that I think Supernova should have won. It basically, well, gave Storm 2 the willy, to be honest. Absolutely mullered it and destroyed it. But Storm 2 got the win, and their reasonings was that Supernova was immobile. Well, yeah, that makes sense. And honestly, if the refbot was actually doing his job, then I don't think that this fight would be as controversial as it was. But considering refbot didn't count it out, and, well, Supernova and Storm 2 weren't deemed immobile during the match, yeah, I got to agree, Supernova is the rightful heir of the Third World Championship. And our final controversial opinion comes from Chaotic Robotics, and he said, would saying Silly Simon is a good robot be a hot take? And I'm going to have to say, well, yeah, it is a good hot take, because it's not true. Silly Simon is not a good robot. So yeah, that just about does it for this episode of this brand new series, Robot Combat Hot Takes. Let me know what you think about it, and also I'm hoping this will be an ongoing series. If of course you want to submit your own hot takes, please DM me on Discord. Here's my name on Discord once again for you guys to follow me. And yeah, and until next time, the Bot Builder out.